The Lincoln Memorial looks down towards the Capitol, site of the swearing-in. Abraham Lincoln, of course, was also an Illinois state legislator, a relative unknown who rose to prominence through his powerful, stirring speeches. Throughout this weekend, Obama will pay tribute to the president who preceded him by nearly 150 years. On the day, he'll swear on the Lincoln Bible used in 1861. Whether he achieves greatness in his own right is another matter. Philippa Thomas, BBC News, Washington.
Those scenes at the Lincoln Memorial give a pretty good clue about the predecessor that Barack Obama is studying most closely as he prepares to deliver his inaugural address. As Adam Brooks now reports, it's an address that will define the tone and the direction of the Obama presidency.
His moment is drawing very close now. And at the instant he becomes president, he'll try to set the tone of his presidency. And he'll do that in his inaugural address.
And we're told that Barack Obama has chosen a theme to run through his inaugural address. And we're told that he's going to meditate upon or reflect upon the doings of one of his most illustrious predecessors, Abraham Lincoln.
Lincoln, the tall, craggy, brilliant leader who fought the Civil War, preserved the Union, freed the slaves, fell to an assassin's bullet.
The man who could rise from obscurity to true greatness. He embodies this idea that within each individual there is the potential for extraordinary achievement.
The Civil War is still a symbol of the promise and the imperfection of the American story. It's obsessively revisited and reenacted here. And we expect that Obama will refer to Lincoln's greatest speech, the moment when, in astonishingly few words, he eulogized the fallen Union soldiers and he articulated America's purpose at Gettysburg.
77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition
that all men are created equal.
Lincoln's words live on. School children all learn the Gettysburg Address.
What is it about Lincoln that we need to know now?
And they all learn that Lincoln preserved the American idea in dark times. And that, it seems, is the message Obama wants to evoke. That, like Lincoln, he can lead America from crisis to renewal. Barack Obama is an orator. His speeches are already passing into the American canon. And America seems to be expecting his first inaugural to be among the greats. Adam Brooks, BBC News, Washington.
Welcome back. In slavery, in service, and now in residence, for 200 years, African Americans have lived and worked in the White House. First they served as butlers, maids, and cooks. Later they worked as presidential advisors and cabinet secretaries. And now Barack Obama will be making the historic step into the Oval Office itself. As the new first family prepares to move into the White House, we have a look at the role that African Americans have played within its walls. The White House. We'll be seeing plenty more of it in the coming days as Barack Obama and his family take up residence here. These walls have witnessed much history that America is proud of and much that it would rather forget. Think of the bittersweet irony. Today they're building the platforms for the inauguration of the first African-American president to sit in the White House. But just a century and a half ago, in the very square where I'm standing now, you would have seen the dens used by the slave merchants of Washington to hold their human cargo in chains, and all that in full view of the building behind me. In fact, the White House itself was largely built by slave labor. This payroll ledger lists the men, African men, who bear the names of their white masters. James Madison was one of 8 presidents to own slaves whilst in office. One of them, Paul Jennings, ended up being Madison's valet and one of his most trusted aides, but he never stopped being his property.
He led a very interesting life.
We found his great-great-grandson. A car mechanic, Keith Jennings Alexander, lives in Virginia. Every morning he drives through the fields of Manassas, site of one of the bloodiest battles in a civil war fought over the emancipation of slaves.
I think that blacks in general are patriotic. You know, I look at it and the obstacles we faced when we came into this country, but we've always been right there for the cause. You know, I look at it and say, what war didn't we volunteer to fight in? You know, we've always been right there. We've tried to be a part of this American fabric.
Booker T. Washington famously had dinner with President Teddy Roosevelt in 1901, but this was to be an exception. African Americans continued to serve in the White House, but they had to wait more than half a century before they were trusted with guarding the president's life. Abraham Bolden was the first African American to work on the White House Secret Service detail. The man he was paid to protect, President Kennedy.
And he asked me whether or not a Negro had ever been assigned to the White House, detailing the Secret Service agent department, and I told him not to my knowledge. He asked me if I would like to be the first one. I told him, yes, sir, Mr. President. He said, I'll be looking forward to seeing you soon in Washington, D.C. And I was very honored and flabbergasted.
There was plenty of goodwill at the very top, and in return, plenty of gratitude. But the upstairs-downstairs drama of the White House also harbored plenty of prejudice.
And I had a supervisor to look me in my eye and tell me point blank. He says, Bolden, I want to tell you one thing, and don't you ever forget it. He says, you're a nigger. You were born a nigger. You're going to die a nigger. You're going to always be nothing but a nigger. So act like one.
It took many more years before an African American sat at the cabinet table. But the black history of the White House had long changed from servitude to service. And here you're saying hello to Prince Charles.
Yes,
you've got Richard Nixon looking on suspiciously in the corner.
Oh, yes, sir. What is most of these?
Wilson German has watched this gradual transition as one of an army of butlers at the White House. Almost 80 years old, he has served 10 presidents. How do you feel about the fact that, as an African American, having worked in the White House, as a member of staff, you will now be working for a president who's African American? Does that fill you with pride?
Yes, you feel with a great pride, and you feel that you never expect this to happen in your lifetime.
Every stone of this White House was meant to speak for freedom, the very founding idea behind America. But many would argue that not until a black president takes up residence here have the building and the country truly fulfilled the promise they were meant for. Much of that promise lies with the children of this country, and they are in for quite a civics lesson during this historic inauguration. But just like all Americans, even fourth graders have high expectations for the new president. In tonight's Note to President Obama, the fourth graders at Cleveland Elementary School, right here in Washington, D.C., take their turn in offering up advice and pressing the issues that 9-year-olds think should be front and center.
Fourth graders, look this way, please.
I think President Obama should come visit schools in D.C. personally so he can check on the quantity of education with his own eyes. And I think he should start with our school, Cleveland Elementary.
I would like you to visit Children's Hospital to let them know that you care about them, and no child wants to be turned away because their parents do not have health insurance.
Mr. President-elect Obama, would you help us clean up the environment? Some people and businesses keep throwing their trash on the ground and in the ocean.
All right, there's a good connection. Okay.
It was very exciting for my children to see a black man become the president. They are just energized, and I appreciate what you did for my own classroom. Everybody's working at such a higher level now. It's nice. Now we can say, yes, we can, because we can.
I would like for President Obama to lower electricity bills because some people are now losing their jobs and can't afford to pay their bills unless they have money.
Can you make a program to raise money to spay and neuter cats and dogs so shelters don't have to kill them? This is important to me because I love animals and I want them safe and happy.
I would like to ask the president if he could help the homeless so they have shelter, food, and clothing because they are struggling right now. Together, we can help them. I hope he'll be a good president.
They couldn't vote, but they certainly have a voice. The students there of Cleveland Elementary School right here in Washington, D.C., offering up their advice to the future president.